Welcome to the Limestone Way. Starting in Staffordshire rather than not Staffordshire, starting on the Staffordshire Way rather than actually starting. So we're starting in Uttoxeter and we're going to head to Worcester first off, and then from there we shall then progress onto the actual route and start it at Worcester. So this adds on 4.8 miles. By the end of this we'll then be walking to Thorpe today, so it's about 15 miles all in. So let's catch up shortly. So we've had a very, very wet March. It's been raining up until, well, it's still on and off raining today. So we can just make out Derbyshire Bridge there, so I've passed under that. Almost tripped on barbed wire fence bit sticking out next to a stile, and now I'm navigating the field of hell. So we've made it to the gun club. You can see there's a few benches just on the fringes of it where you could quite happily sit down. You can see there's obviously a gun shooting cage there, number 2. So in theory you could sit here, and what we're doing throughout this video is just giving locations of actually as to where we are as well, just Ordnance Survey grid reference. So we're SK 106361, so we're halfway between Uttoxeter and Worcester now. That's quite a nice little path down by the river. It is about to absolutely tip it down. Oh, that's just coming, so woohoo! Poncho and another rain layer or 2 on top. So I'm good. And that river is really up. I ain't got food, mate. Yeah. Tutbury Mill Company. Awesome. So here we are at the actual start of the Limestone Way. Literally it starts just here, sort of officially, unofficially. I'm going to say the rock there, which who knows. So first off, what we're going to do is head straight down the road this way to a pub and a shop. It's about 300-400 metres away, and that'll be our first stop and sit. And just on this side, open at the moment, fish and chip shop and a little cafe next door. It's £2.90 for small chips and a Dr Pepper. And you can see there's a nice big covered seating bit just outside as well. So I'm going to have a sit down and have a bit of food. So you've got a cafe. As well as a cafe, you've got the chip shop, which seems to have a lot of things ready on the side. So I'm guessing either school out here kicks out at some point, or JCB does down the road. The cafe looks like it's open for breakfast, so you could start off with a breakfast here if you're starting from here. Not quite sure what the hours are on it. I didn't really want to pop to the door. So now I'm going to head to the start and begin. Well, it now feels like I've got lead boots on after going across this field. It is just absolutely glue. Right, let's get the hell out of here. What a lovely house. What a lovely field. What a load of bull. So, got some B road behind us. So, we sort of head straight across over this field here. And then it comes back onto this road in probably about 400 or 500 metres or so. In fact, you can probably see the field, it just curves round there anyway. So, because there's no way on earth I want to be in a field with something that's got testicles bigger than my entire head, is I'm going to wander around. So this is grid reference Sierra Kilo 110402. Population 1. So just as we hit there, sort of just coming off the bridge over the river, there's a couple of bins because from the looks of it, quite a few people probably park along here when it's nice and warm, because it is really nice and pretty and picturesque down that by the river actually. Might have to investigate if there's like a round loop somewhere around here that you can actually do. So far no benches or anything like that, but there is a lovely wall here which is just about perfect sitting height, so I'm going to sit down, take the weight off my feet for a bit and then carry on, because I fear that there's nothing now until pretty much the bridge over the river. I think it's the River Dove, is it? Sort of right near Thorpe, so I'm going to have a break for a bit. So as I'm saying, just having a rest. I've looked across the way, there's like a massive wall, like a massively over thick wall just here of concrete, and it seems over engineered. It's a block of concrete, and then through there you can't properly see it. There's a little door. I get the feeling there's a pillbox here, which would have been protecting across the river in the Second World War. If anyone can now tell me different, please let me know. That might not be, but it seems very over engineered for what it is. And it's a perfect position, aiming straight across the bridge, and probably the follow up to it. Awesome. It's got to be a sadist who's installed the stiles around here. That one over there, you need a pole to get over it, and this one, what? You've got like a 2-foot stone in the middle where you'd step through. I know you might want to keep the sheep in, but come on. Yeah. I don't know if to laugh or just set it on fire. Right, just having a bit of a footrest stop. You can probably hear the main road behind me, so onto the A road, just near Martin Hill now. So since Ellestone, 5 miles, and there's not really been anywhere, there's certainly nowhere officially to sit. You can sit on the floor. When it's soaks everywhere, probably not going to want to. So, oh, I shouldn't sit down too long. So I've just been sort of sat straddling style for a minute, just to rest the weary legs. It's only about 2.5, 3 miles, 4 miles to go left now to Thorpe. SK 149497. So this is the first actual bench I've seen so far. Yeah. And we're literally, well, we've just literally crossed the river just next to Thorpe, so Literally just got the one hill to walk up and that is it. Almost there. So there's the pub. Looks quite nice. Should be in there shortly. Nice free car park here as well. It's not really close enough to the Tissington Trail to charge, and it's not quite close enough to Dovedale. Where's their parking charges? Some sort of yellow note. I might be lying. And let's follow down towards the Tissington Trail. And I think it's the Station House B&B. I'm staying at £75 for the night. For single occupants, 85 for two. Maximum hold is 2 as well. Either 14s only, something like that. And obviously full English breakfast. So that should set me up for a good bit of walking. Right, we've made it to the B&B. See what the room's like in a minute. Right, so we've started day 2 now. It's meant to rain a lot today, so this is going to be good fun. B&B was absolutely lovely. It's just a very short walk up the road to the pub, a few hundred metres. Do take a head torch. Yeah, lovely food in the pub last night. Sleep by about 10. Then cook breakfast just after 8. Nice full English, you can pick what you want off the list and pick your time. So just peeking out over there, about 500 metres off the track, it crosses the road up here in a bit, is Ashbourne Heights. That's where I was going to say. That was £12 for a night. Just look at the camping section, camping and touring. It does range up to about £30 a night, so it's potentially not super cheap, but if you're camping anyway, it's certainly going to be a lot cheaper than most of the B&B options for the same sort of time period. And that was £29 sort of over Easter, so not too bad. At least you've got showers and everything, and if you're really bored you could go for a swim as well. Welcome to Tissington. So it's worth having a quick read over all the different sections there are here. And accommodation. So in the centre of Tissington, it's quite nice and early. Information centre, you've got a bench there. You've got a bench at the edge of the churchyard. You can just see Tissington Hall in the background there. So it's a bit more of a detour. Lovely big old house here with a lovely getaway steps on their horse at the side. And one of the little cafes there as well. So I think from the looks of it we've got to go up through the church now, around the back of that, and across the fields and back onto the Tissington Trail. So just leaving the top field after the church, and I just don't get why. You got a gate and then you got the steps, which no sheep's gonna. Maybe a sheep has escaped before, but what certainly doesn't help is you got this branch here. As you can see, it's been stripped off from everyone hitting it, right above your head as you go to step up. Right, we've made it into Parwich. I'm going to say Parwich. So just have entered sort of the main sort of village bit. So there's a truck dropping off at the brewery. There are a few benches in the park, as well as over there a bin. So there is somewhere to sit down and everything. Now I believe there is a shop in the pub, so I'm going to go and see if I can just stock up on a few more sort of sweets for energy, because I needed some later in the day yesterday. I think I'm going to run out by the end of tomorrow. It's going to be quite a long push towards the end of tomorrow, so I'm going to try and get some more sweets, maybe a drink or two, and then sit down and take a rest for a little bit, since it's really quite nice here. So £3.30 for a couple of tins of drink and a couple of chocolate bars. So you just go in the main door and the shop's on the right as soon as you go in. That sort of serves all the main odds and ends, sort of snacks, drinks, sort of frozen pizzas, all the sort of things you'd sort of need in an emergency sort of in a village. So yeah, quite handy actually for just stopping in and just grabbing something. I do have to question why on some of these gates that they are so narrow, and I'm not sure why. And there's been so many like this, and it's so hard to squeeze through. And then you just got this, and why? It's just such a piss take. You can't fit through it. I've gone through onto the right hand side, and the stone there is as slippy as hell. And it's just no need for it. It's not all bad. So it's continuing to rain quite a bit. A lot actually. I've had to stop. So I'm at the church at Ballingdon, SK 203544. There is like a little area at the front you could sit in it. I don't think the gates are actually locked, but I'm happy just to stand here for a few minutes. The rain has changed direction. You could in theory, if you wanted to have a rest and sit on the wall here as well, before going up the hill here, or back down the hill depending on which way you've gone. I have some new friends. My only friends. Someone tells me they think they're getting fed. Little buggers. So we're now at SK 2435760, whatever road we're on now, the A6. So the Hollybush in there, that certainly does not look open. But there are a couple of benches outside there, and there are some benches just up there out the way, where you could quite happily sneakily sit anyway. Yeah, I can't help but think this is just another absolute filler section. It is just field after field after field, and to top it off, I mean, you can see a gate there, and then straight behind it, obviously I've just come through this, is that. Now that there at the top is, there's a phone, and it is literally about a metre off the ground. So that's a SK 255572. That's just absolutely fucking ridiculous. I'm not even going to sort of sugarcoat that one. I've literally had to take my bag and everything off, and if it was still tipping it down rain, I'd now be getting piss wet through as well. And for what? Because they stuck a really bad gate in. I mean, you can't even pole vault over it because you can't get your bag through on your back still to pole vault over it. I've still got a mile of walking through one field after another of this. Almost at the 25-mile marker. So that's sort of 20 miles in from the actual start. Just almost getting to Bonsall now. And this is the Bonsall mines. So I'm guessing they're lead mines. But it's really weird and bumpy. There's quite a few that are, hello Barry, there's quite a few that are like straight lines, so I'm not feeding you, honestly. So this should be bench 1 in Bonsall, so this is SK 272581. That's it, mate, to the top of Bonsall now, so bench bin. Another post box actually, SK 237583. So you can sort of motor up the hill, and then there we go. There's a nice bit on Bonsall's history. Right, so the plan from where I am now is to walk, forget the pointer on, walk up this yellow road rather than going the other way, and walk up to this village and cut across. So it's almost running parallel. And I can either go that way, the actual official route down to the pub, or just straight down the lane. I quite like that there's bacon and beans mines on here. That's quite amusing. Shame don't go anywhere near that. So yeah, I'm gonna skip these fields here because there's just been too many fields now. Feet are soaked through. I just need to get some time back. It's 5:25 now, with 3 miles left. So that could be like 6 o'clock getting to the pub. So we're just minutes away from the pub now. So I think somewhere along here the trail. Oh, there you go. So the trail goes down there. Should have come back up that way. So there you go. The lead ore house that every single video gets in. So here we are. We've made it. All in all, it is now. What time is it? Let's have a look. I'll stop sat nav here as well. It is 10 to 6. So it's taken 9 hours to do. 9 hours to do stat screen. 23.95 kilometres. So yeah, somewhere between 14 and 15 miles there. So it just shows how terrible it's been. Good morning. It's not a super duper great morning. Since yesterday, I think my feet have gone downhill a bit. Literally, my feet were just soaked through in the end for most of yesterday, thanks to the rain. It's been a real shame. So I've decided, with the sheer volume of time it's taken, I'm not quite sure how these other dales are going to do. So it wouldn't do it justice really to actually sort of just start taking shortcuts all over the place. When I started working it out, potentially if we start getting stuck in lots more fields and everything, it's going to take potentially 15 hours to complete, which is time I don't have to get the train and everything. For the sake of battering my feet royally, it's something I'll come back and do another day. Matlock. Good morning. So, knocked out about 4 miles, just literally getting back onto the trail this morning. So I did have a good old 5-minute rant video at the end of the last time. So this is 2 weeks and a couple of days later since the last time. So it's just the weekend after Easter. The weather. It's been raining all week, so I can imagine there's going to be quite a few sort of wet puddles in places, most likely still. Should be dry for the weekend. So this time I'm going to be camping at Flag at Notlow campsite, and yeah, got just over 9 miles or so, no, about 10 miles left today. Going to stop in Money Ash, something to eat, and hopefully this northern side will be better signposted. I won't have to have a 5-minute rant this time. So the styles, the rain, after 2 days I got back down to the train station at Matlock. Yeah, my feet were tingling for a day or two after, so probably the on-stoner trench foot I reckon more than anything. So yeah, I was glad to stop. Bought some sealskin socks. I've not got them on at the moment. I do have shorts and gaiters. Full waterproofs again. just to be on the safe side. But again, just a couple of days of 14, 15 odd miles, and I'm hoping it's far more enjoyable this side. That's so awesome. They've literally just got like a massive sprayer and they're filling all the holes in. Oh. So before you hit Robin Hood Stride, if you're heading south to north, there's a bench, Sierra Kilo 225 622. Or if you're heading south, it'll be afterwards. Oh, there's more here. Looks around here. So it's just after 11ish, and you see it's really quite busy up at Robin Hood Stride. It does look like quite a funky place to explore, actually. Then you got the 9 ladies stone circle over there. You can see people obviously just park just over there. So it's quite a nice, easy one to walk to. There's a car park on the other side on the road to the east as well. So probably about 3 more miles, I think, to Yulgrave from here. So we've just hit the river. I'm not going to document every bridge down here, but not bridge, every bench. There's multiple benches along this way. You can see just up there's a path off. You can cut the corner if you want to go straight to Yulgrave that way if you really do want to. I'm just going to follow the river up, find the first bench apart from this one, and go sit down and have a snack. This glove's giving me the finger. What the hell? Right, just walked up the hill I was dreading. Very steep. As you can see, bench. So that bench. There's a grid reference that comes up. Sierra Kilo 194 642. That looks like a pretty decent bench as well. So there's the lake all the way down the other side of the Yulgrave. Come from all the way up the valley the other side. Mordor Wood. Quite a lovely little place, this. And since it generally is like sort of council, you know, sort of government-y owned land, you could really easily get away with camping in here. Sort of a bit slippy. Staircase of hell. Right, let's turn this off before I die. Not seeing any Easter eggs. Lovely old pig pens there. Beautiful part of the world. Now just coming to Ferndale, and on the other side here is, oh no, bench. I'm stuck. Money, ash. So yeah, this is the top of Ferndale, and so you got a lovely little bench there. You do actually have signposts, and if you really want to find it on OS Locate much quicker, Sierra Kilo 158656. How sad am I? It's lovely. You can see over in the distance there, that's generally Laffkill Dale running up towards the top. There you got the road into Money Ash there. Somewhere up over the hill, just over that way, I can't see it, is Magpie Mine, which is quite prevalent on the map. And that's a mine. It's actually got like the buildings and stuff there as well, so it's a bit more interesting seeing actually. Although like these ones are capped off with wood and probably a bit dangerous, they're actually sort of capped off just with metal, so you can actually look down some of them, drop a stone down. I think it's shut in the 50s in the end. There wasn't enough money in it, sort of reopened and put, what was it? I think it might have been a naval winching machine or something crazy like that to use on it the last time round. But yeah, it's an interesting place to go visit if you sort of love industrial history, or just sort of the toils of history that go on. So this is quite interesting as well. You'd always just think someone's made like a duck pond in the middle of nowhere, but it's actually it's like a DEFRA initiative, which I was speaking to, I don't know if he was the farmer or someone who's just working on this last time I was here, and literally in the old days for the cattle, when it came to actually feeding them, because you didn't have the water troughs which are pumped by main water out into the fields, you'd have these clay lined, effectively like pits that the animals could come up to, and then they could dip their heads in and have a drink. So it'd just fill up naturally where it's clay lined. It then wouldn't sort of, the water wouldn't evaporate, and evaporate, but it wouldn't seep through and escape. So that's what that's for. So they've been repairing them and putting them back in place. But it's not actually for the cattle now. It's for the wildlife. I think it's for the likes of newts and all manner of small animals, rather than livestock and cattle. Hi. Yeah, good, thanks. Just as we come to Money Ash, there's actually a bench overlooking the pond, just behind the wall there. There's two benches there. I'm not going to grid reference them, it's literally just on the southern side before. If you're heading north, it's just before you hit the crossroads in the centre of Money Ash. And if you're heading south, it's just after you've gone straight past the pub. So we're going to hit the pub in probably about 1 minute, if that. I'm guessing this is going to be busy as hell, being a Saturday. Oh, I'm not hitting the pub, I'm hitting the place next door, the old Smithy, or whatever it's called. It's got a nice little menu on it actually. Not actually got any dedicated opening hours, but when I went in there midweek, it was actually quite heaving actually. It does say you can actually ring, if you know you're going to be there sort of, I don't know, 5, 6 or whatever, you can actually ring up and actually then, oh my god, you can actually then ask to sort of go in there. As you can see, lovely place. And then you've got the Bull's Head next door, which is also heaving. Oh, let's have a look. Right, just turned up, checked in. So drinking water, showers, toilets. There are pods, but I think it's a 3-day booking on them. They do actually do takeaway pizzas, and they do a breakfast. Yeah, a few like takeaway breakfast items as well. So you just need to pop into reception. There's no alcoholic drinks here, but they do have some sort of sweets and snacks and like bottles of pop and that sort of stuff. So you can pick up a very bare essential. But yeah, should be the field here. Let's go and perch up for the night. Good morning. So it's 6:45. Just sort of set off from the campsite. It's about 11-12 miles tops to the end now, and then potentially a couple of miles walk to Hope Station. So Flank's a bit of an elongated village, I think. That bench and bin is at Sierra Kilo 134685. So just after you hit the crossroads. There's also a defibrillator in the middle as well. I'm guessing there's a campsite around here as well. I don't think I could ever find one on this side, so it's worth a look. Actually, that might be open again now. Looks fairly... Find nothing on it online though. I don't know. You can see a campsite over there, so there's a campsite over there you can actually sort of stay in. I can't remember the name of it. But there's a brewery just up the way from it as well, and it's actually started to rain, which it did say it was going to do yesterday, and it didn't today, so better keep an eye on this. It's not a heavy cloud or anything, it's nothing where it's going to really perspire, but yeah, better put the camera away for now. So once you walk through Millersdale, once you get to here, you're looking up the road with the 50 limits. It looks like there's a path up there to the left, but don't ignore like the old wooden sign. Carry on up the road, it's about another 200-300 metres, and then you'll get to where you need to be there. Obviously you've got the Bonsall trail there, and all the viaducts. Everyone loves a viaduct. Yeah, it says water closets, bike hire. I'm sure there's like a little cafe that sells ice cream when the weather's nice. Probably not at like 9 in the morning or whatever time it is now. There's actually a bus stop as well, and I did notice a bus just come past, so that's a bit of a shame. That's pretty impressive, that is. Just having a quick rest in Millersdale at the moment. So there's the Millersdale Meal Wheel. And then you've got the... I've forgotten the name of the pub now. No, can't see through the trees. There's a pub there, I think it opens at 12, so I'm way too early for that. I'm going to be heading straight up that hill just there in a second. So it's quite a hard drop into this dale, and then you can see the dale we're walking parallel to is just there. But yeah, there's a couple of nice little benches here. There is a bin as well, and obviously there is the pub, and there's toilets at the car park as well. Right, so just making it into Peterdale. Let my Peter go. So that looks fairly right on the foot. And there is a bench here as well, which is nice because there hasn't been anything since Millersdale. So I'm just going to rest my weary legs for 5 minutes. I was almost going to literally bypass this and do the Pennine Bridle Way because it was quite muddy at the top, but here it doesn't look too bad, so I'm hoping it's not. Just wait and see. I mean, these are the main limestone sort of areas to see, is the 2 dales here, I think, that you actually properly walk through, and the one into Castleton. So it's not worth missing. Hey, hey, hey. Hey Dale. There's a bench here on the southern side. Oh, that's almost a lovely new shiny bench. Oh, that's probably quite old, but it's been very well looked after. So this bench here is literally just before you hit Peterdale. So it's at it's at SK 123766. And it's absolutely well worth coming down here, I think. This hill is horrible. I don't know if it'd be worse going up or down it actually. So I think I'm almost to the top. Yep, I am. It's back onto a hard road. Then across the main A road. And it's the final or first section of the map. Which is 3.3 miles, I think. Keep an eye on the time. Not 100% certain if I'm going to walk the last 2 miles, because I remember I did download the bus times last time. So this video is going to be terrible. As I was coming out of Haydale, going up the whole Limestone Way, Limestone path, video camera memory card full. Between there and here, which this is literally the last hill now. It's straight down about a mile and a bit. In fact, straight down into Castleton now. We're making really good time. So there's nothing since Haydale. There's been nowhere to sit down as such. So I'm just literally going for it. Just munching a few sweets here and there as I go. But yeah, I was in Flag this morning. There was a couple who were just leaving their house. He said that this was the nicest section, and I do honestly believe that's correct. There's just so much more limestone, just open path like this you can just walk down, rather than having to piss around, stopping every 2 minutes. So we're heading down there, and I'll bring you back at the bottom. There we have it, the end of the Limestone Way. This is where everyone seems to finish, because it's not marked. So there we go, it's been nowhere to sit for the last 4 miles. Right. Right, let's do a time check.